This 11-year-old sat in his principal's office with a recording on his phone. It was 47 minutes long. His math teacher was on it, and what she said in minute 31 ended her career.
Watch until the end.
Caleb Walsh was in 5th grade at Linden Hills Middle School, a small public school in suburban Pennsylvania. His older brother Jonah was in 8th grade at the same building. Their mother, Rebecca Walsh, taught 2nd grade across town. Their father had passed years earlier from heart failure. The three of them lived in a small greenhouse on Ashbury Street and counted dollars carefully. Jonah had a Roblox account he had built for almost 5 years. It was his pride. 64 limited items, a Dominus hat from a charity event, a username with double letters that the marketplace valued at over $1,200. Caleb didn't have his own account that mattered. He shared his brother's sometimes, on weekends when Jonah let him. Their 5th grade math teacher was Mrs. Diane Halverson, 46 years old, 18 years at the school, 2 grown children of her own. The kind of teacher who brought cookies on the first day and got mentioned in graduation speeches. Caleb liked her. Most of the kids did. In the 2nd week of the school year, Mrs. Halverson started a new project. She told the class she was studying how children use online platforms for a master's degree. She wanted students to volunteer to share their gaming experiences with her. Not the games themselves, just stories. She said it would help her become a better teacher. Caleb raised his hand. After class, she asked Caleb to stay. She asked about his brother's Roblox account. She had heard from another student that Jonah had something rare. Caleb explained about the Dominus, the limiteds, the username. Mrs. Halverson nodded and wrote things down in a small black notebook. She thanked him, said it was very helpful, said maybe Caleb could ask Jonah to log in once, just so she could see the inventory for her research. Caleb went home. Jonah said no, politely but firmly. The account was his. He didn't share passwords with anyone, not even Mom. Caleb told Mrs. Halverson the next day that his brother said no. Mrs. Halverson smiled, said it was fine, said she understood completely. That night, Caleb got his first math test back. He had studied for it. He was sure he had done well. The grade at the top was a D-. Caleb didn't understand. 2 days later, he got a worksheet back. F. Then a quiz. F. Then a participation grade for the week. F. Caleb didn't know it yet, but in his teacher's drawer, behind a stack of attendance sheets, there was a list of 17 students at Linden Hills Middle School. His name was on it. So was his brother's. And the column next to each name didn't say math grade. It said something else. Caleb's grades didn't make sense. He had always been a B+ student. By the 6th week, he was failing math. Rebecca Walsh, herself a teacher, sat him down and asked what was happening. Caleb didn't know what to say. He told her he was trying. Rebecca believed him. She emailed Mrs. Halverson asking for a meeting. Mrs. Halverson responded the same evening. She wrote that Caleb seemed distracted lately, that he wasn't doing his homework, that he had become uncooperative in class. She suggested Rebecca check on what Caleb was doing on his computer at night. She wrote, "Sometimes our boys lose focus on what really matters when there are other things in their lives." Rebecca was tired. She accepted the explanation. She took Caleb's tablet away on weekdays. She made him do extra math at the kitchen table every night. Caleb sat at the table and did the math correctly. The next test came back. F. Mrs. Halverson had written in red pen at the bottom of the page, "Disappointing. Talk to your brother." Caleb stared at those 4 words for a long time. Talk to your brother. He didn't tell Mom that part. He folded the test and put it in his backpack. 2 days later, after class, Mrs. Halverson asked him to stay. She closed the classroom door. She sat on the edge of her desk and looked at Caleb gently. The same gentle look she had 4 months earlier when she first asked about Jonah's account. She said, very quietly, "Caleb, I want to help you. I really do. But I think you and I both know what would make these grades go away. It would take you about 3 minutes. Your brother wouldn't even need to know. He has so many items. He wouldn't miss one or two. Just think about it. Caleb didn't answer. He picked up his backpack and walked out of the classroom. He cried in the bathroom for 10 minutes before going home. He didn't tell anyone. He couldn't. Because Mrs. Halverson was the most respected teacher in the school. Because his mother already thought he was distracted. Because Jonah would explode if he found out his brother had even talked about his account at school. For 3 more weeks, the Fs kept coming. Caleb stopped sleeping well. He lost 6 pounds. His mother noticed and took him to the pediatrician, who said it was probably a phase and recommended more time outside. Then, one afternoon, Caleb walked past the staff lounge and heard Mrs. Halverson on the phone with another teacher. He only caught one sentence, but that sentence made him understand that what was happening to him wasn't an accident, wasn't a misunderstanding, and wasn't even just about his brother. It was about something Mrs. Halverson had been doing for over a year. To other students, with other older siblings. And Caleb was not the first. Caleb didn't tell his mother. He didn't tell Jonah. He didn't tell the school counselor. Caleb was 11 years old, but he had watched enough true crime documentaries with his mother on Sunday nights to know one thing. Adults believe other adults. They almost never believe children, especially against a beloved teacher with 18 years of service. So Caleb did something else. He used $22 he had saved from birthdays and bought a small voice recorder online, the kind that runs on a single battery and clips to a backpack strap. He hid it under his desk in math class, taped to the underside of the metal frame, where Mrs. Halverson never looked. For 9 school days, Caleb recorded every math class. On the 10th day, Mrs. Halverson asked him to stay after class again. She had a new tone now, colder, more direct. She told Caleb that his report card was coming out next week, and that the math grade would be either a C- or an F, and that the choice was up to him. She said it would be very simple. Just one screen recording of Jonah's inventory sent from Caleb's phone to her email. 3 minutes of work. She said the word simple twice. Caleb said okay. He went home and looked at his recorder. The conversation was 47 minutes long, including the silence at the start. He saved the file 3 times, to the recorder, to a USB drive, and to an email he sent to himself. Then he did something the principal would later call the bravest thing I've seen a child do in my career. He didn't go to the principal. Not yet. He went to his older brother first. Caleb sat on Jonah's bed and played him the recording. Jonah listened to all 47 minutes without saying a word. When it ended, Jonah looked at his little brother. Really looked at him, for the first time in months. He said very quietly, "How long has this been going on?" Caleb said, "Since school started." Jonah said, "Why didn't you tell me?" Caleb said, "Because I thought you'd be mad. Because the account is yours." Jonah didn't say anything for a long time. Then he stood up, walked to his computer, opened his Roblox account, and started clicking. Caleb thought for a horrible second that his brother was going to send the items to Mrs. Halverson, to make the F go away. Instead, Jonah pulled up the account settings and did 3 things. He enabled 2-factor authentication, he changed his recovery email, and he changed his password to something only he and Caleb would ever know. Then he turned to his brother and said, "Tomorrow, we're going to Mom. The day after that, we're going to the principal. And the day after that, we're going to the police if we have to. You did the right thing. You're not in trouble." But before any of that could happen, Mrs. Halverson did something Caleb hadn't predicted. The next morning, she pulled him into the hallway between classes. She put her hand on his shoulder, leaned in close, and whispered 6 words. 6 words that Caleb didn't tell his brother, didn't tell his mother, and didn't tell the principal, until the recording was already playing in front of all 3 of them. The meeting happened on a Wednesday afternoon. Rebecca Walsh sat next to Caleb. Jonah sat on the other side. The principal, Mr. Howard Banks, sat behind his desk. The school district's compliance officer was also present. So was Mrs. Halverson, who had been called in without being told why. Rebecca had asked her son to play the recording. Caleb had hesitated, just for a second. Then he pressed play. For 47 minutes, no one in the room moved. They listened to Mrs. Halverson, the gentle voice, the kind one, slowly trade Caleb's grades for access to his brother's account. They heard her say, "Your brother wouldn't even need to know." They heard her say, "I have done this with other students." They were grateful. They heard her admit that she had made a small income on the side, reselling rare Roblox items she received as gifts from students. The compliance officer wrote everything down. Mrs. Halverson sat very still. Her face went through 3 colors: pink, then white, then pink again. When the recording reached minute 46, Caleb said quietly, "There's one more part, from this morning, in the hallway." He pressed play. Mrs. Halverson's voice came through the small speaker. 6 words, spoken in a whisper. "If you tell, I'll deny everything." The compliance officer closed his notebook. Mrs. Halverson was placed on immediate administrative leave. The district opened an internal investigation. Within 4 weeks, 3 other teachers at 2 other schools, friends Mrs. Halverson had told about her side income over the years, were also identified. All 4 were dismissed. The state board revoked Mrs. Halverson's teaching license permanently. No criminal charges were filed because the items were never technically transferred. But the educational consequence was final. Caleb's report card came out on schedule. His math grade was changed to a B+, with a written note from the new substitute teacher. Caleb performs at grade level, previous grades reviewed and corrected. Jonah kept his account. The story did not stay inside the school. A local journalist heard about the dismissal and wrote a careful, anonymized article. The article reached the State Department of Education. Within 2 months, Linden Hills Middle School became the first in its district to introduce a new policy. Any teacher discussing a student's online accounts, gaming inventory, or digital property for any reason must do so in writing, with parental consent, and with the principal copied on all communication. The policy was named the Walsh Protocol, after the family that requested it stay anonymous but agreed to let their last name be used. The policy spread to 14 other schools in the state within the year. Caleb didn't go to the press. He didn't give interviews. He went to 6th grade. But once a year, Mr. Banks invites Caleb to speak, voluntarily, never required, to the new 5th grade class about why it's okay to record an adult who is hurting you. Not as revenge, as protection. Caleb has spoken at 3 of these meetings. Each time, he says the same closing line in his own quiet voice. "My teacher told me adults don't believe kids. She was right about that, but she was wrong that it meant I should stay quiet. It meant I should bring proof." The most disturbing part of this story is not the Fs, not the lost paychecks, not even the 4 teachers who lost their licenses. The most disturbing part is how easily it almost worked. An 11-year-old child, alone in a math class, was nearly forced to steal from his own brother by an adult he had been told to trust for his entire school life. The system that was supposed to protect him was the system breaking him. If an adult, a teacher, a coach, a relative, a neighbor, ever ties your grades, your safety, or your future to a password, an account, or a small favor that no one will know about, that is not a request. That is a threat. The right response is not to argue, not to comply, not to handle it alone. Bring proof, a recording, a screenshot, a text message. Bring it to one trusted adult who is not part of that adult circle. A parent, a grandparent, a school counselor, a pediatrician, anyone who exists outside the building where the threat happened. You don't have to be brave. You only have to be quiet long enough to press record. Tell me in the comments, would you have had the courage to record your teacher at 11 years old? I read every reply. If you watched until the end, give it a like and subscribe so we can share even more stories like this.